Hello and welcome back to Season 2 of the Cinematic Trinity, the show where we talk movies, TV shows and games, new and old, with me, Michael.
Me, Tulip.
And me, Kyran.
And today we're going to be talking about the best and worst movies, TV shows and games of 2023 and give our thoughts, so let's get into the episode. So 2023 was I'd say a pretty good year in terms of things that came out.
A lot has happened this year in terms of films and I don't really know about games, but films mainly. Like I think that we've seen more films this year than I have in any other year, probably because of the podcast, which I think is a good thing. Like I wouldn't have seen half as many films as I did if it wasn't for the fact that we were doing the podcast.
Yeah.
So that's a plus.
I'd say like TV shows maybe we struggled because TV shows, to be fair, like when you're making a podcast is a hell of a commitment. Like when especially if it's like weekly releases or if it's like quite a big substantial season of television, it's just a hard thing to keep up with.
Yeah,
and like
we pretty much only managed the new Game of Thrones one and The Last of Us.
We didn't do we didn't even talk about Game of Thrones. That wasn't last
year.
year. No,
that was early this year.
No, it wasn't. It was 2022.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought we did a review of it though.
No, we did it in our 2022 wrap up. We talked about it.
Oh no!
Yeah. So I think pretty much this year the biggest TV shows we watched were
The Last of Us.
Sex Education.
Yeah, Sex Education.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
One Piece, which we didn't like.
I didn't watch all of it.
No, and Doctor Who, probably the biggest ones, and Time. We
3 episodes.
Only Murders.
What we could manage.
Time, Only Murders in the Building. Talked about that as well. So there have been. We haven't watched we didn't watch Succession or The White Lotus or
any Marvel TV series.
No.
We've given up on that, haven't we?
Yeah, exactly. So
you guys definitely watched a lot more than I did.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that we said. Oh, Kyran, can you watch this? And we'll review it on the podcast and just say, nope.
Yeah, and then video games. I think this year, I've played the most video games out of the three of us. I mean, it's not like you're not into them largely, and Kyran just hasn't had the time to.
I don't know what I've been doing. 2023 is alright off. 2024, big up 2024.
It's the first day. We're on a roll already.
I did say we'll try and do a few more video game reviews and stuff this year and try and pencil it out because we did do a lot of movie reviews.
We did.
The past season one.
That's because you've mainly been doing your gaming reviews on TikTok.
Yeah.
You've been talking about games on the TikTok and you've not been talking about the podcast. I'm very angry with you for not talking about the podcast on the TikTok.
That's part of my New Year's resolution is to talk about the podcast. So anyway, I think let's get into it. So we're going for the best first. Might as well capture the achievements of this year, and then we'll go into a couple of the worst bits, which probably not a lot to talk about, but there were a fair share of bad things this year. So I think starting off with movies. Tulip, what was your favourite movie of 2023?
Now, you both have heard the speech already about how I don't know what my favourite movie of 2023 is, but whoever's listening to this hasn't heard it, so I shall be repeating myself for the next 10 minutes, and I've already repeated myself about 5 times. So there was quite a lot of films this year that were really good, that I really enjoyed. Barbie, Puss in Boots, Air, Napoleon, Across the Spider-Verse. But were any of them my favourite film? No. I can't highlight. There wasn't one standout film for me that was this is incredible. I love this film. I'm so excited that I'm watching it. I can't wait to watch it again. Blah, 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 blah. I didn't really have that apart from some of the older films that we've watched this year that I'd never seen before. Was this year the year that I watched The Big Short?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, exactly. I watched The Big Short for the first time this year, and how many times have I watched it? I've watched it about 15 times. That's how much I loved it. And I didn't feel any way about any of the films. So I think some that probably were in my top, top 3, but not in order, is probably Puss in Boots, because that is genuinely just a really good film. And we watched it again recently because it was on Sky. And it was just so good. The animation is brilliant. Everything about it is brilliant. The story's brilliant. So that was really good. But again, it's I wish that there was something better than that. Do you know what? That was not a real hearty film.
Yeah.
There was so many things that could have been really good. And then the next one was probably Air, which is the film with Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, can't remember who else was in it, about Michael Jordan. And well, it wasn't really about him because he's not in it. It's about them and how they like signed Michael Jordan to make the Air Jordans and how they designed this trainer for him. And Viola Davis was in it, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Who's brilliant. We love Viola Davis. So I wasn't really expecting it to be as good as it was and for me to enjoy it as much as I did, because we did just put it on randomly on a whim because it was on Prime, wasn't it? That's why we watched it. And it was just really good. Like, it was really funny. It was really like light-hearted. There was a really good script, and Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were really good in it. Like, I feel like I really love Matt Damon at the moment. Like, I really like appreciate him as an actor at the minute. And yeah, it was just really good. It was really surprising, and we came straight away. And we did a review of it on the podcast literally like half an hour after we finished filming it. Yeah. And it was really good because we were like, oh, what should we do on the podcast this week? Oh, what should we do? And then we watched that film. We were like, great, we can talk about this film for half an hour. And it was like a really good episode. So yeah, so that was kind of the next one. And then the next one, my third one, is Napoleon, which I don't think you guys liked as much. I can't really remember what we said about it, but you didn't think it didn't like blow your mind.
I think it had some like good bits in it.
I'm talking about it now, okay?
Shut your mouth.
So what I've got to say about Napoleon is that it was really funny. Like, I'd seen so many disappointing films this year. There were so many films where I was like, I'm so excited for this film, so excited, and they were just disappointing. So when it got to Napoleon, I was like, right, this is going to be rubbish, no expectations, I'm not going to learn anything about Napoleon, there's going to be some good battle scenes hopefully, but that's about it. And I went in, and yes, I didn't really learn a lot about Napoleon, but there were some good battle scenes, and there was a really good script, really funny moments. Joaquin Phoenix was really good. The other woman, what's her name? The actress.
Don't know, it's Josephine's the character,
Can't remember,
isn't it?
yeah. Josephine, she
Elizabeth
was absolutely...
Kirby?
Yeah, it might be Kirby... something.
Fact check that, Kieran.
Yeah.
Vanessa Kirby.
But she was really good
Vanessa
in it.
Kirby.
Vanessa Kirby, yeah, you were right. I knew you were right with Kirby. And she was absolutely brilliant in it as well. And I was like laughing out loud in the cinema when a film that is like not supposed to be funny, and it just was what it was. And I think people would, because it was Ridley Scott, and people were saying, oh, you know, you don't really learn a lot, blah 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 blah, and he kind of just went, what, like, I don't care, like, I don't care what you say, like, I haven't made it to be like this epic biopic, whatever, where you do learn every detail of his life. It's more of a story. And I just appreciated it for what it was. So I think they're my top three, but there wasn't really a film this year that
stuck out to you.
That stuck out to me as soon as I watched it, I was like, that's my favourite film this year.
Okay.
Apart from the ones that we've seen that didn't come out this year that I really enjoyed, like The Big Short.
Kieran, what about you?
Well, I mean, if we're talking favourites, we've got to talk The Flash. I mean,
I feel like you put that in the wrong segment there.
for legal reasons, that's a joke.
Yeah.
No, I think there were some good films this year, but I feel like it was the same last year, because last year I said my favourite film was Elvis, and it was only my favourite film because there weren't any that I enjoyed more. It wasn't my favourite film because I thought, oh, that's the best one out there. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's kind of the same this year, although I did enjoy some of the films of this year more than I did last year.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm kind of in a similar boat to you, where it's kind of like I can't pick one. It's kind of there's like several, and I think we'll see a bit of a trend here. Yeah. Because Puss in Boots, absolutely, like, that's
it was a very
cracking
good film.
movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely cracking movie. And it's like a really breath of fresh air for like kids films that have been doing like the same kind of style of animation for like years and years and years, and it's just kind of, it's become a bit stale. Whereas this actually tried something different. The story was good. Yeah. Like, you know, anyone can watch it and think that's a good film. Like a kid can watch it and think, oh, that's really good. And then we can watch it and go, great film.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, that's going back to like the Shreks and you know, things like that. I know it's like the same universe, but still, it's
like it like captures like the like the goodness of the original, because we watched the original Shrek in the cinema as well last year, and
that was really good. We watched Shrek 1 and Shrek 2, and we have to say that Shrek 1, I think we can all agree,
holds up.
It was so good watching it in the cinema, better than Shrek. I was more looking forward to Shrek 2, but when we watched Shrek 1, I was like, no, actually, this is definitely the best one.
We just appreciate it like so much more. Like just like this, like little bits like the soundtrack as well. You're like, oh my god, this bit of music's like really good. Like, what's going on? What's going on here?
Absolutely brilliant.
But it's just kind of like, especially with some of the stuff that Disney's putting out these days,
they're not doing very well.
It's just kind of like not very good, and then you get something like this from DreamWorks, and you're like, wow, okay, that's really like a really good film. And some like real kind of, I know we talked about this in our review before, but it's actually really well put together, like the story and all the like kind of character development and stuff.
Yeah.
And after watching, like, because I think we all did, but we watched the first Puss in Boots film beforehand. Massive upgrade.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're like two different films, but like two completely different
ends of the spectrum.
But like the first Puss in Boots film is kind of like, it's a kid's film, but you maybe can't really watch it as an adult because it's not. It's more definitely a kid's film. Yeah. Whereas this one is kind of more all encompassing. So. Really enjoyed Puss in Boots. I feel like the big one, which is a bit of a contention, because me and Michael really enjoyed it, but Tulip perhaps not so much.
I wonder what film you're going to
say. Which would be Oppenheimer. Because there's not many films that can be that length that we can go and watch twice within like as many weeks. And Oppenheimer, we definitely did. And enjoyed it both times. It had some really like, Cillian Murphy, great performance. Oppenheimer. To be fair, the whole cast was really good. It was done, really well, and I mean, some of the scenes, like the scene where the bomb goes off, it's just such a good scene. I remember watching it the first time, and like I was genuinely like, like goosebumps on my arms and stuff. I mean, Christopher Nolan's just class, isn't he? So you don't get much better than him. So I mean, I'm sure Michael will talk a little bit more about Oppenheimer in a minute. Cause I think spoilers. I think I have a sneaky suspicion that might be his favourite film. But I would say my third one, which was a real surprise. I won't lie. Like, I wasn't expecting to enjoy the film as much as I did, and this might come to a surprise to you as well that this is on the list. But Gran Turismo.
Okay, right.
That's cute.
I genuinely really enjoyed the film. I thought it was really good.
Oh, that's nice.
Again, class performance from David Harbour and Orlando Bloom, and I don't know who the main guy is, but
still good.
But I actually, while I was watching it, I was like, what? Why am I enjoying it? But then it's like, it kind of like, they say it's like a video game it's not,
it's very, very
story. It's just, there's a story. There was a story that happened around it where they did this competition, and stuff happened from there. But I thought it was really good. I don't care if things weren't factually correct.
No,
it's a film.
It doesn't matter, does it?
It's a film. It's not a documentary. So
it's like even if it's like some bits aren't factually correct, even the fact that the general true story actually happened is still pretty like insane. That's a guy went, well, as the tagline said, went from a gamer to a racer.
Exactly.
As cringe as that is, that's exactly what happened. So
that he made the video where it was like, Death Stranding is making
because I did the TikTok about because Orlando Bloom was really into Gran Turismo, shaping the future for any future race car driver. So it's kind of like, apply that to any other game and you wouldn't really get as much luck.
I think my favourite thing about Gran Turismo as well is that I want to say the main guy's name is Jan.
I think it is.
He actually did a lot of the stunts in the cars. Like, he was a lot of the driving. The actual person did the driving for a lot of the scenes in the film.
You saw he was the stunt double for the guy playing him. Which is like a really
which I just think is really cool, because then like he's kind of there as well. Like, on the filmmakers are like, oh, we want to do this, and he's like, no. So I think that one's my shock. Like,
the
one that I like this year, because I really wasn't expecting it to.
I think the element of surprise is a big thing when it comes to enjoying a film, because you can go in with highest expectations and be disappointed, and it makes it worse.
Yeah.
But when you've just like, oh, whatever, I'll just see it, whatever, like you were with Gran Turismo, you probably didn't think, oh yeah, I can't wait to see this film. But then you went in and it was just so unexpected, and that's what like elevates it to the next level of enjoyment, I think.
But I mean, the final thing I'll say about movies for this year is a lot of them, like, they were, kind of like 8 out of 10, like, good films. Like, there were a lot of decent films this year. There were some that were not so decent, but
definitely.
But I think a lot of the ones we watched were quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
So
there's been
good
some
on 2023.
big films this year.
Yeah.
I think big films. I think.
Yeah.
What about you, Michael?
I'll think to make it a bit different. I'll give my top 2. I won't do top 3 because I don't know what the number 3 spot would be.
Yeah.
But number 2, I'm going to go for Across the Spider-Verse, just because you know what? Another good, a really good animated film that came out this year. Like the first film, Into the Spider-Verse, is like just a brilliant bit of like Spider-Man fiction, just a brilliant animated film. Really like almost like heartfelt story, like just some good messages in it, and it's just animation's just really gorgeous to look at. And then Across the Spider-Verse was just more of the same. Like we rewatched it again, and watching it, the animation's just absolutely insane in it. Like watching it, how do they get this done? Because like even when like it got released and they were on about part 2 coming out in 2024, which I don't think it is anymore, you're kind of like, Jesus Christ, like how are they going to animate, just put all that work in again? Like, because I think there was a whole thing about crunch, and like they worked their employees to the bone to obviously get the animation to be as good as it is, which isn't good practice. But you're watching it like, just like it's more of the same characters you like Miles Morales in that series of films is like a really good character. Like the supporting cast was good. I liked Miguel O'Hara, like Spider-Man 2099. Gwen Stacy was good. So I just think I think again it's one of those films where I really like it after I first saw it. But if like the second part, it's kind of like you with Dune, like the second part ends up being bad, it's really going to hamper my enjoyment, because it is basically all set up to the next movie, but it's still good. Like there's a lot of good things about it. Yeah. And then, yes, my number 1 film of 2023
Brace yourself, folks.
It is Oppenheimer.
Horror. Oh my goodness, Michael.
So I've watched Oppenheimer 3 times this year.
That's a lot of time for
it was 9 hours a
hour
movie. And it every time, like, it just never felt like it never felt long. Like we watched Killers of the Flower Moon this year. That was obviously 4 hours. That from like
I fell asleep
half an hour in, I was like, Jesus, like what time is it? Like how long is left this movie? Whereas Oppenheimer wasn't like that at all, just because like, again, probably just the way like Christopher Nolan tells his stories, like he had the 2 different timelines going on, so it was like intrigue. And like we watched a good sort of retrospective or like analysis video of the movie, and it's basically just how the movie keeps you engaged. Is like it will set up a question and then answer that much later in the movie, so it's basically keeping you engaged with question answer like throughout the movie. It's just lots of things just really work about it. Like as Kieran said, the performances are really good. I really hope like Cillian Murphy like either wins like the Oscar for it, or like at least he will definitely get like a nomination. I'd be really surprised if he didn't. 100%.
I think Robert Downey Jr. will get a supporting actor nomination. I don't think he should win it, but I think he'll get a nomination. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. We'll probably end up doing like another BAFTAs video, Oscars. Like when they get, BAFTAs Oscars video when they get like announced.
As long as Leo doesn't win for The Flowers Moon.
He'll get a nomination. I bet
he'll get nominated, but
he'll be.
Win.
I bet it'll be. Well, I think like main. It'll probably be like Leonardo DiCaprio. Bradley Cooper, probably going to get one for Maestro.
I mean, he should. Oh my god.
Yeah, and then Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer. So yeah, just a lot of things working. Like as Kieran said, like the scene where the bomb gets detonated is one of like the best, probably like one of my favorite scenes of like 2023 movies we watched. Just because like just the anticipation, like even like the soundtrack and like everything lends to it really well. And then just when it goes off, it's just this really gorgeous like explosion. And like again, just the fact that most of the stuff in the movie was done practically. Like you just really have to appreciate it for that. It's just a good like film lovers movie, Like,
it is.
There's so many components about it that work, and you can just really like appreciate. So that's why it's my number one movie of this year.
Well done, Michael. I'm very happy that you actually had a strong choice for this year, unlike me and Kieran.
Well, it doesn't get any fair. Moving on to other stuff, which we probably won't have too much of a strong opinion on.
Yeah.
TV shows. What was your favourite TV show of 2023?
My favourite TV show of 2023 was Time, which was the BBC. It's a second series at BBC about three women who have gone to prison for like different reasons, and they kind of cross paths, and it's just a really incredible story. Like, it was absolutely brilliant, really like heart-wrenching, but not like too much. It was honestly, it was genuinely like, it was amazing. And it was only 3 episodes, so it wasn't like too much time, but I think we watched it all like one after the other, didn't we? Like, we were desperate to see what happens. And it was just incredible, and all the women that were in it. It was Bella Ramsey, Jodie Whittaker, and then another woman who I can't remember what her name is. We've not seen her in anything else, but they were all brilliant in it. Just a really good story. So yeah, I really enjoyed that, and I think that's been better than any of the longer form series that we've watched this year.
Yeah.
I'd take Time over watching any of those other things again, even though they were more like hyped. I wasn't necessarily looking forward to this. Like, who looks forward to a prison drama that's really like sad and depressing? But when we were watching it, it was really good. I think it sent a really good message out. So that was my favourite TV series of the year.
And Kieran?
Well, what indeed? So, I mean, obviously, I watched Sex Education for the first time this year, which is the first 3 seasons especially.
Fantastic.
The 4th season, I thought still good, but very different from the first 3 seasons. And I do like the fact that I didn't have to wait at all for any of the,
you were very
any
lucky.
of the stuff. I just got to watch it in one bulk and just go, done. Nice. No waiting for me.
That was an intense day. It was like, what was it, 10 episodes of TV or like 8 episodes of TV?
And more than we'd watched series 1 to 3 in quite a short space of time as well, hadn't
about
we?
A couple weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we'd really...
They just all woke up on that Saturday, Kieran came round, and we just spent all day watching it.
Apart from a break in between to watch Strictly.
Yes.
Gotta be done.
And a dog walk in between to like cleanse our palate, so we actually see a bit of sunshine that day.
So yeah, if you were talking based on what I've actually watched, not what came out this year, I would say Sex Education on the whole.
Yeah.
But obviously, it was only season 4 that came out this year, which would then make it not my favourite.
Yeah. I agree.
So, in terms of the other ones I've watched, I've really not watched a lot of TV this year. We've watched things like One Piece, which was better than I thought it was going to be, but still not amazing, especially in comparison to the source material. People have different opinions. But I think it's going to have to be Scott Pilgrim Takes Off.
Okay,
which me and Michael watched in about 2 sittings, I think. But yeah, it was a different take on the story of Scott Pilgrim, which I know from Edgar Wright's film back in like 2010, which is one of my favourite films ever. A different take on it. At first, I was like quite apprehensive. I was like, oh, I don't know, it's quite different. But then by the end, I thought, you know what, just enjoy it.
Yeah. Take it for what it is. Yeah.
And yeah, I did, and like the last couple of episodes especially, I thought were like really good.
Yeah.
It was a nice little wrap up, and a very different story to the film. But in a way, I kind of like that, because if they just remade it a 1-for-1 remake, I don't think I would enjoy it as much.
What would have been the point? There wouldn't have been any point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad that we actually got to watch that, and in doing so, managed to get Michael to watch one of my favourite films.
What?
Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim, which he hasn't watched.
Yeah, where was I when you were watching that?
You're in London.
Yeah, you were.
Oh, God. Yeah,
Had
I do
other
quite like that
commitments.
film. I know, having a life.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do like that film.
Yeah.
But yeah, so one of my favourite films for like probably as long as I've known you. I finally got you to do it.
The amount of films that Michael's forced you to watch, I think you owe him.
This is my payback.
Yeah. 1 in every dozen can be Kieran's suggestion.
And you did enjoy it as well, didn't you?
Yeah, no, it's one that I thought I would enjoy, and just like it'd been on my list for ages, and we're very thankful to have actually sat down and watched it.
Okay, and we watched it in 4K Ultra HD because that was the only one I could buy. And I find it really funny that because on Amazon I did it and it was two for £25, and I got Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and the accountant was Ben Affleck.
It's
just stupid pairing. Oh god, but So Scott Pilgrim takes off. If you haven't watched it, get on
Netflix.
it. Yeah, on Netflix. I'm not affiliated with Netflix. I do not get any money for that.
Hashtag not an ad.
Not an ad.
So I think for me, I did think, I tried to think long and hard because we've not watched much telly, and like there's been no real TV show that stood out as like the best of this year. I think we've watched quite good things, like even like documentaries. Like me and Kieran watched a really good one about free diving, which was called.
Will you stop going on about that documentary? Michael mentions this documentary.
It was really good.
Once a month.
Like honestly, very surprising. Like,
it was good. I won't lie.
Cool. I think it was called like The Deepest Breath.
It was indeed.
The Reckoning, which was the Jimmy Savile like drama on BBC.
Oh yeah,
I did watch a bit of that. Didn't I?
We did.
That was really good. But I think for me, like I'll go. Even though I wasn't like the biggest fan of it, I can like appreciate it for what it is, and I'm going to go for The Last of Us TV show.
Boo.
I mean, if you think about it, even alone, episode 3 was one of the best things I think we watched last year.
Apart from like when Pedro Pascal's in it, and it's like boring. But when it's just that story, that is the best bit of telly, best bit of cinema, best bit of anything. The story is fantastic. I was bawling my eyes out crying. It was absolutely brilliant. But what's that phrase where it's like one good thing does not it's like one good episode does not a good series make, and it's the same with Oppenheimer. One good scene does not a good film make. Like just because the bomb goes off doesn't mean the entire film is good. But there's a saying.
Yes,
I know. I can't remember what the actual saying is.
I know what you mean. I just don't agree.
Yeah, well, I know that you don't agree with me.
I respect your opinion, but. No.
Shut up.
Because I think 2023 in terms of like video game adaptations was a very good year for that. Like even though the Last of Us TV show kind of did things which I didn't necessarily like agree with departures from like the games, or they did stuff like differently to the games, it was still very good. Like the budget and like the production design of it was really good. Like still the cast were really good. Like Pedro Pascal as Joel was good, and then Bella Ramsey, like she's had a good year in 2023.
She's been in loads of things, hasn't she?
She was very good as Ellie. Like it took me a while to warm up to her, and I still prefer like the game characters more. But like what they did in the show for like what the show is very good, and there were some good.
It could have been a lot worse.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Could
have been a lot worse.
So I'm still like I'm interested because because The Last of Us 2 remaster comes out this year, so me and Kieran are going to play that and kind of do like our where does it compare to like The Last of Us 1 kind of thing?
Because you've not played it yet, have you, Kieran?
I've not played it, and aside from a few big spoilers which I've had,
obviously, it's hard to
avoid. I won't say who told me the spoiler. might have been Michael. I don't actually know a lot about some of the stuff that happens. So I
can't remember half of that apart from like the big things. I know,
because I haven't replayed it since it came out in 2020.
No,
so.
Just surprising.
So I'm hoping with I'd be interested once I've replayed it just to try and think, I wonder how they're going to do this in the TV show, because obviously they're going to do HBO have renewed it for a second season, so it's just interesting to see where it sort of goes from here. Really,
to see what it's like.
Yeah. So I think that's what I'll say for that. Like in terms of video game adaptation, did an alright job, and it just looked the part and just did quite a lot of good things. Yeah, did a lot of good things well. So
yeah.
I think probably the shortest category, because as I say, in terms of
certainly
video games...
I can probably sum it up in a sentence.
Yeah, in terms of video games this year, I've not played... Well, actually, no, I played lots. I don't know why I was going to say I haven't played that many.
You've not played that many. How many have I played?
And how many have I played?
And yeah, Tulip, what was your favourite video game?
Well, according to my PlayStation Wrapped, I've played a total of 4 games this year, which I think is the highest number it's ever been, I think.
I don't know.
You nearly got onto 2 hands there.
Yeah, yeah. But the game that I spent the most amount of time on was Disney Dreamlight Valley, which I have really enjoyed this year. It's been the only thing that I've actually, gone back to. It's basically like, the way it was explained to me when, somebody else was saying, oh, you should play this, you'll like it. It's basically like Animal Crossing, but better, but on the PlayStation. So I was like, ideal, I want some of that. And it was really good. It's just really enjoyable. I mean, obviously I don't think that, to be fair, you started playing it with me, and if I say to you, can you clear away some of the night thorns, or can you do this for me, you'll enjoy yourself. I'll give you a chore whilst I'm doing whatever, or if my hands get tired. And you'll do it, and you'll enjoy it.
To be fair, you got quite lucky, because technically it's been in early access since
I've been playing it all year, since
2022.
last year, and it's been in early access, but technically its full release was December this year. So I'm just so ahead of my time. I've been playing it early access.
You're the OG, you were playing it before it became
well, technically not, because somebody recommended it to me.
Yes,
but whatever. But yeah, it was really good. That was my favourite game of the year, because it's the only one that I've really played with any, great gusto.
Commitment. It's the one you've actually committed to playing, haven't you?
I mean, I played 50 hours of it throughout the course of the year, which is a lot.
I think you played more. I don't think I had a single game that exceeded 50 hours. So you played more of a single game than I have.
Yeah.
Because last year of games was not my year, apparently.
Yeah.
I've said it to you guys before, because I find it quite funny that it actually made its way on there. But Bloons Tower Defense was in my top 3 games of last year on my PlayStation, which is just absolutely absurd. And honestly a little bit embarrassing, but these things you play. I did the time.
Now I get the shame of having to admit it.
I mean, in terms of my favourite game, there's not many I actually played. A lot of the games that I saw last year, I kind of came over here and Michael played them. And I was kind of existing while they were there. So I've seen some of the good ones, and certainly some of the bad ones with Gollum. But But yeah, in terms of my favourite game, can we do ones that I've played this year?
Yeah, I think for you.
Yeah, just go for ones that you played this year.
Because I've got kind of 2, maybe 3.
Come on, Kieran, we've got to wrap it up now.
I'm sorry. I'm so indecisive. No, in terms of one that actually came out this year, I mean, we'll have to go Spider-Man 2.
Oh, yeah.
That is probably one of the only games I played this year that I properly enjoyed that came out this year.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to say about Spider-Man. It's just a solid game.
If you want to hear what Kieran had to say about Spider-Man, you did a podcast episode.
We did the podcast.
Listen to the episode and you can hear Kieran's thoughts.
I shan't repeat myself.
Well, it's because we basically, like Sex Education, we basically played Spider-Man 2 over a weekend and then reviewed it on the following Monday, which is pretty crazy,
For me, it's routine now. For Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man Miles Morales, I completed them both in 3 days, and this one I completed in 3 days. So that is just how it goes. When Spider-Man 3 comes out, 3 days.
Yeah.
I've only got 3 days, and if I don't complete it in 3 days, then it's not.
To be fair, they're normally a good length. They're not too short. They're not too long. They're a good length for you to bash through it. But also, if you want to take your time, then you can. I think with those games.
Yeah, and it's not I didn't rush through it either. I wasn't I've got to get this done in time for the podcast.
Yeah.
I completed everything, but I wasn't rushing through it. I mean, I did book a day off work. But we also got a dog on the day it
Yes,
came
you
out.
did. Yes, so there was 2 things going on.
Oh, God. Yikes. But yeah, aside from that, I'd probably say, because I played The Last of Us Part 1 this year in tandem with the show, and kind of got a unique view there.
Yeah.
Because I didn't actually mind the show, whereas you two, at the time,
we're
not so big fans.
Yeah.
Obviously, Michael, in hindsight, now his favourite TV show last year.
I wouldn't have thought that when we were watching it.
So, you know, I didn't mind the TV show, and obviously the game, really good. And then my last one is kind of just kind of left field one. But it's one called Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. And there is a story behind that. Because I played it and I streamed it on Twitch at the same time. And I ended up getting raided by about 20 people. So I had like 20 people watching my stream, watching me play this game, which I'd never played before. And it was just such a surreal experience. It was the first time I'd like streamed in like a year. And then I got like 20 people watching me. I was like, Jesus, what's going on? So, you know, that's kind of like a memorable moment of last year for me. And then I said I was going to stream again, and I haven't.
Yes.
So, classic me.
Yeah. Oops.
Uh-oh. But yeah, that'll be me. So, you know, I didn't really give you an answer there, but there you go. I'm giving you lots of answers. Yeah. I promise I'll have some more concise thoughts for the worst.
Have you done yours, Michael?
No, I'll go.
I know what it is.
Yeah. Well, to give a quick shout out, I will say Liza P was my number 2 because my like top 2 are very interchangeable. I couldn't really make my mind up because Liza P like genuinely surprised me because it's basically a From Software like Dark Souls like game where, you know, it's just the same gameplay like mechanics and stuff. But yeah, just I was expecting it just not to be good because like most of these games when they come out, they're just not that great, or like they just fumble and don't quite hit the mark. But yeah, this one was like just the atmosphere, the story was very good as well, and like just some very just good gameplay and just really, really stood up. So yeah, I'll put that as my number 2. But my number 1, which again was kind of another surprise to me because I haven't really played the other games in the series, and like I don't really go out and buy horror games too much. But it was Amnesia: The Bunker, which really, really good. I'd recommend that highly as like a good horror game. Just one of the tensest like experiences I've had playing a horror game. It's very like akin to Alien Isolation, which is one of my favorite like horror games as well. Just where you're sort of in this place, you can't really defend yourself that much, and you're being stalked by this monster, and it's basically a case where you need to escape, and then you can just fend it off. And it's just some good tension. I liked it so much to the point that I don't normally do this, but I went and played it on the hardest difficulty, which is like, you know, you get limited resources, like your starting gun is in a locker somewhere and you need to find the code, which is randomly somewhere on the map. So I just did it on that and I had a really fun time with that. So it's just not very often, like especially a horror game would make me go, oh, I'm going to play that on the hardest difficulty and like really, you know, stress myself out. And yeah, I did, and I really enjoyed it and ended up just really loving that game. So if you haven't played it, go play Amnesia: The Bunker.
Well done, babe.
And I think a quick rapid fire before we go, because I say there were some very good things that came out in 2023. But what were some of the worst things that came out in 2023? So give a quick sort of rapid fire. What your least favourite game, TV show, and movie was. So Tulip.
I can't say what the worst was, but the most disappointing for me was actually Killers of the Flower Moon. Okay. Because I was really looking forward to that. And I fell asleep because it was so boring. So that's my worst for 2023. Mm-hmm. What about you, Kieran?
Well, I think we all know, don't we? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's The Flash. It was just terrible. I like The Flash. I really like The Flash.
Yeah.
In terms of the character and every single other interpretation of the character that has been out there, but this was just awful. It was dreadful. Awful. I wanted to tear my eyes out. Yeah. Not good.
It was one of the most like surprising movies like beforehand, where everyone is bigging it up and like this is the greatest superhero movie ever.
James Gunn saying the best movie.
Yeah.
And then you go into it and you're like, were you just like being paid to say that?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
You know, I don't want to like obviously, you know, I'm sure the director's a nice guy and like he wanted to set out to make a good movie, but he did like, you know, arguably he didn't.
Yeah.
I just don't like the way they like justify things afterwards. Like people saying, "Oh, the CGI looked terrible." It was like, "Oh, well, that was intentional."
Yeah,
it's like, no, come on.
Just take the hit. Like, take. They should never have released it in the first place. There's too much controversy around it anyway, and for it to be bad, they've canned so many of the projects. Why was this not one that they got rid of?
I'd rather have had that Batwoman or Batgirl movie that they were making instead of The Flash.
Because that probably would have been good.
Yeah.
It can't have been worse.
Yeah.
I just hated the fact that people were defending it online.
Yeah.
Well, you got into a Kyran comment. We did our TikTok review, me and Tulip, and Kyran commented on. Ended up getting into like a sort of comment war with somebody about the movie.
Someone's been.
So I think it was someone called The Flash, wasn't it?
Someone called The Flash. The Flash tried to call me out, and I ended up calling them out.
Discourse.
Terrible. I will defend my opinion to my last breath.
Yeah.
That is probably one of the worst movies that's ever been made.
Yeah.
Ever.
And I think for myself, I'll throw in my worst game and worst movie of the year, because worst game, Gollum, like without a shadow of a doubt, one of the worst games I've ever played. So clunky, just didn't need to exist, and it was just the least enjoyable experience I've had. Like, I could not wait for it to be over. I streamed a little bit of it on our TikTok, and I got had some good engagement with people, which helped me get through it. But otherwise, it was like, this game is just crap. Like 2 out of 10. I gave it a 2 out of 10 because I had to sort of say the environments were good. Like, I didn't want to completely crap on the game because, like, some people made some nice skyboxes and like the levels looked alright. Otherwise, don't play it. Like, don't waste your money and play it.
Yeah.
And then my worst movie, because I would have said The Flash as well, but I didn't want to take that away from Kyran. So
don't have the rage burning inside you.
No. So I've gone for the movie 65, which is the movie. It's the Adam Driver movie where he crashes on prehistoric Earth and tries to escape. And it's just like
dinosaurs.
Yeah, like I thought the premise seemed interesting, but then like the movie tried to milk that twist quite a lot of like, oh, he's on Earth. It's been Earth the whole time. Like, it just does this thing like at the beginning of the movie. We caught like because it was New Year's Eve yesterday. We caught like a little bit of it on telly, and it was just the bit where it comes up with the title just saying 65, and then underneath million years ago.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and it just. All it kept happening would just be dinosaur attacks Adam Driver, breather, dinosaur attacks Adam Driver, breather, and then they get out. Like, very repetitive, just didn't like the story, and it was just a bit... like, for what happened, it just seemed quite boring. Like...
Do you know what? All of the worst movies I've watched with you.
Yeah.
My 3 worst movies I've watched with you. 2 of them this year.
Yeah.
What?
What's the other one?
The Flash 65 and the Predator remake.
Yeah, the Predator. That was a great one though.
What was that called?
The Predator.
Is
that the one with the whistle?
Yeah. Tu's mum loves it. Yeah.
Terrible film. I'm sorry.
Not the one with the whistling.
I don't know.
No, that's Alien Covenant. What, where he plays the flute?
Yeah.
That's Alien.
Oh.
Right. Okay.
That's a funny scene.
Yeah, no, that's awful.
Yeah, that was me and Kyran went to go see The Predator, and it was like just us two in the screen, so it's quite good.
When did that come out?
Like, I
I
don't even know. Did we? I think me and you might have tried to review that on our previous podcast before this one.
MATV podcast.
Oh my god, what a flashback,
before
man.
you had the production level of this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we just went to go see it. It was just me and Kyran. Yeah, I think it must have been like 6-7 years ago. I don't think me and you were together by that point.
It's a different time too.
But yeah, I just remember like I went round.
I was his most important person.
To be fair, I still think that's the case now.
Yeah. What can I say? But I remember going to Tulip's mum's house once, and we were just leaving, and like she was like, "Oh, Predator's going to be on TV," and I was like, "Oh, great, the Arnold Schwarzenegger one." And then just before we left, I saw her like flick over to watch it, and it was The Predator, and I was like, "Oh dear. Like, because I just think it's bad. Like, I like the Predator movies. I like Predator 1, Predator 2, and Predators was really good. But yeah, The Predator.
I think it's Predators.
With Adrian Brody, that
was on telly?
No, it was The Predator, because I remember the poster came up for it when she was
I'm going to make a note of that. I'm going to ask my mum when I see her later.
Well, she can listen to this podcast.
She'll be listening, exactly. You're going to have to answer to her, both of you.
I'll get a message.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Hate mail through your letterbox from my mum.
She's never going to look at me again.
I'll say, the original Predator, very, very good, but that one, not...
well, you know that I don't really care for those films anyway, so... No comment from me.
So that's a podcast for another time.
Yeah.
Sorry, I sent you on a tangent there, didn't I?
Yeah.
But I think, you know what? That's a good way to introduce season 2, which feels very weird to say that we're on season 2 of our podcast. It's been like nearly a whole year of us doing this.
I can't believe we've done it for a whole year. Well done, us. Well done.
But a massive thank you to everyone. Hopefully this is probably the first time we've tried filming it properly, so hopefully this uploads okay and looks alright. But massive thank you for you guys for tuning into this episode of the Cinematic Trinity. And in the meantime, I've been You've been too.
We just took a mask off.
Freaky Friday.
I've been Michael.
I've been Tulip.
And I've been Kyran.